Can money buy us extra years of life?
How close are we to living forever?
And is Berlin actually the right place to make it happen?
Today we welcome Nicholas Fiorenza.
The founder of Life Sciences Tech Club in Berlin and the community manager of Biomakers of Aging Consortium.
Being an entrepreneur is about your energy balance, your inputs and your outputs, right? So what you put in your body and who you surround yourself with, garbage in, garbage out. And people are aging, that's going to be the topic now for
That's the sad
many,
thing
many
about
years.
the people. Yeah.
I met my wife in Berghain.
You met your God.
In 2015. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I met the investors for our project. Where? Oh, at the Kinky Party.
You would be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically sustainable food systems that will allow humans to thrive in outer space.
Welcome back to another episode of How I Built My Life in Berlin. And today we're joined by an amazing guest, Nicholas Fiorenza, who is the voice of longevity in both sides of the Atlantic, originally from Boston. Now he's
One of the voices, yes.
One of the voices, but originally coming from Boston and now living in Berlin and leading the Life Sciences Tech Network.
It's a mouthful, yes. Life Sciences Tech Network, correct. Yeah.
Happy to have you here today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be here as well. Yeah.
Cool.
Let's get straight to the point.
Okay.
How to live forever.
How to live forever. Well,
Wow.
we're not there just yet, but we're getting there, I think. You can think of the human body as like a car, right? So you want to ensure that your body stays as in peace and together as possible, right? So you have the engine, you have your different parts there, and with biotechnology and advancing technologies that we'll be developing quite soon. I mean, we're already working on it. For example, rejuvenation technologies. So if you take an organ, let's say your heart or your liver or your brain, and you think of it like as a part of your car, you can replace it. So we're working on replacement therapeutics in the US. I think Germany is coming. Switzerland also is quite interesting when it comes to rejuvenation, biotechnology, and stuff like that. And then, of course, there's China, which I don't really know too much about what's happening there, but they're putting a lot of money into and funding and coordination across this domain. But first we need to ensure that the car is operating properly. I mean, to get there, we have to stress the fundamentals, right? So good sleep, good diet, exercise, muscle. And then at some point, once we can bring in biotech and digital health and medtech and whatever else is going to be out there, a lot of patient data we're going to need data in the cloud that's always updating and following us where we go. We'll eventually get there to living forever. I mean, at least some of the folks that I work with are very much focused on living forever, while some a bit more philosophical. It's a very philosophical and debatable topic, of course. Would you guys like to live forever?
Yeah, of course. I would love to live forever, and I would love to pay money for it. And especially if I'm more a tech person by myself, and if the technology is involved, if I can just look at the tablet, the Cyberpunk. Have you played the game?
I haven't played the game, but I kind of know the concept.
It's like you can upgrade yourself. You can I want to buy very nice liver, and then you can drink, I don't know, for the whole weekend, and you feel like a cucumber, like a fresh cucumber in the morning on the Monday. And that would be super cool. I'm really looking forward to such technology.
Yeah, it's coming. I mean, it's a big push for it right now, and that's exactly right. Imagine you having a dashboard in front of you, which is basically a digital twin of yourself, and it's constantly updating with information from your wearables or from the food that's in your system. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of interesting tech that comes together, and that's actually part of one of the core principles of the Life Sciences Tech Network is to ensure that we have the right technologies developing and advancing to allow for such kind of developments, like lifespan extension, health span, mostly health span. First, we got to work on extending the youthful and healthful years of healthy individuals, and then we can let people live forever. People want to live forever in good health. I mean, with new technologies, usually when they roll out, they're a bit more expensive until there's enough competition to drive forward more competitive pricing in certain products, right? When it comes to drug development and therapeutics, interventions, whatever is going to be needed to allow for folks to live longer and healthier. I'm hoping, and we'll see, with advancements in AI and with lab automation and a few of the technologies that are coming out, quantum, for example, all this stuff. Even some crypto organizations. So there's one, to divert a bit, there was one that I helped start, which was called VitaDAO, and it's using token economics to support the governance of longevity therapeutics that would eventually go into the market. So there are efforts to democratize access to longevity therapeutics. The foundation that I work with in the United States, we're also about supporting that mission and to allow for longevity for all. So there's actually a few NGOs out there, and governments are well aware, and policymakers specifically are well aware of this potential bottleneck, right? Because health should, be equitable for all, in my opinion. Everyone should have access to good health, or at least the ability to get access to good health through whatever means. It gets complicated with your health insurance and with paying out of pocket versus paying in pocket, and then what happens there, right? So that is a topic for the economists and the policymakers. But if you look at most technologies, though, for example, like if we look at space technology and how much money had to go into that first, let's say, wave of space tech, which was, obviously you have NASA, you had more federal funded technologies for space, and now you can see that through competition and through lower cost of goods and more democratization through all that, that we're able to now have more competition when it comes to getting into space. So I could see that with longevity and any kind of technology that is emerging at some point. That's what we hope for, and that's what we would like to see in a good capitalist society.
That is cool. Interesting. What would be covered with the insurance card, with the stationary insurance?
Yeah, I mean,
it would be covered.
No, it's for sure. I mean, if we look at, so longevity is you have longevity. You have your lifespan, so from 0 to, let's say, infinity, and then you have your health span, right? Or actually, I should have your health span. You have your lifespan. Sorry, health span is on the y-axis. Lifespan's on the x-axis, right? So this is amazing health. This is death. This is 0. This is 250 or 1,000, however long you want to live. We're looking specifically to target health span. So your health as you age between the years of 40 and 60, that's really a sweet spot. And even before then, I think.
40 and 60, yeah.
In your 30s, you want to actually start. Even in before 20s, that, you want to develop good habits until your teens, and then from your teens into your 20s, into university, and then post-university, how you take care of your body, what you eat, what kind of habits you develop. Are you in front of your screen? How do you deal with the stress of everyday life? Who you surround yourself with, that really forms the foundations for your 30s, when you're starting to really get into your career, or if you're an entrepreneur and you're launching companies or whatever it might be. That's really key. And then 40s, 50s, 60s, that's when we start to see a bit of decline in health because of aging, because the wear and tear over time. Yeah, those time points are when you have to really start looking at how you're doing things with yourself. And then where the health insurance comes in, that's interesting, because currently the health insurance model is to basically, like, they are incentivized to keep you sick in some ways. It's changing, like, instead of, I mean, I'm not an expert in it, but from my understanding of being in the space for some time, the incentive structure is not set in a way where health insurance companies benefit from you staying productive and healthy, while economies do. If you're, I think in the US, there was a study that came out. If you can save or extend 2 years of productive health for an adult, you can, across the board, across the whole U.S. population, it's like trillions in economic benefits. So we have to think about that as a society for not only U.S. but for the entire world. And I think governments and policy are starting to look at this. And yeah, don't quote me on the numbers, but it's a significant amount. And just think, I mean, if you look at it right now, like France, Germany, a few European countries are starting to think about, okay, retirement ages, when you can retire, they're going to add 1, 2, 3, 4 more years perhaps at some point. I mean, already 1 year is a lot for France and for Germany, like people want to retire, but I personally don't want to retire, but I want to work as long as I can. That's why I'm in space, so I can be as productive and as healthy as possible for a long time, and build and launch as many companies as possible too. I mean, that's why I'm doing it, For that, you need to be inspired and you want to, be around the right folk. Being an entrepreneur is about your energy balance, your inputs and your outputs, right? So what you put in your body and who you surround yourself with, garbage in, garbage out. Similar to AI or similar to your health, it's all, you can think of it like that. So I hope I answered your question. I don't know.
It was a great answer.
I was just imagining entering a hospital in 100 years and asking for additional 15 years of life, and they're looking like, oh, you have a Barmer insurance card, then pay extra 70 euros, and it will be 50 healthy years.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just 50.
No, absolutely. It's always interesting to see how each individual person thinks about longevity and how in the future we can just, one up on a points, whatever system that we eventually comes out. But it's going to be a long road to get there, and it's going to be incremental and slow, I could imagine. Or not, or maybe it's exponential. Ray Kurzweil, the singularity is near, and the singularity is nearer. He's all about the longevity, escape velocity, and we think by 2030, with advancements in AI, deep tech, quantum, and all that, and biotech, we'll be able to really advance our lifespan and health span. I could imagine.
I have another question about that. So there is Anthropic and there is some other big companies which are going towards the longevity projects rather than just LLMs and the consumer things. So what do you think? Will it be startups or such huge companies who are going to do the breakthrough?
Yeah, I think it'll be a combination of startups working with these bigger providers in the space. Yeah, so if you have the digital and the physical infrastructure to allow for this, that's great, and that's what we see with the AI toolings that are coming out. So Anthropic's getting into it, of course. OpenAI is also working with Retro.bio out in the US. Sam Altman funded one of the companies that spoke at one of my conferences there. So Jeff Bezos, for example, he's into the space as well with his company. So you have a few tech billionaires that are working on this, and it's definitely interesting, and I like to see it because it's a pull factor for everybody else, basically. Just like Elon Musk is a pull factor for a lot of entrepreneurs. He's made tons of millionaires who are going to go and start their own companies because they worked for Tesla, Starlink, or Boring Company or whatever. So that'll lead to more, let's say, bottom-up innovation as a pull mechanism. And that's what I hope to see, is especially with tooling and compute becoming, let's say, less expensive over time and more democratized, right? Going back to the other point, then I think we can now get folks who are, very smart and nimble and, have their, AI and their science to go out there and figure out how to do it, build their own little teams, and then see if they could partner up with Anthropic or with OpenAI or whoever else is developing such technology. Nebius, for example, there's a few out in San Francisco and California that are working on this, and then we'll see. Hard to say right now, but usually, money always flows to the top in most societies, right? So we have to figure out a way to keep that as flowing throughout the whole ecosystem as possible. That's it's not really my expertise, but at least flow of goods and capital and teams and resources is always important.
How do you think what Berlin and Germany lacks to make a breakthrough in this field? There are more than 700 scientific startups, as far as I know. Uh, what is missing? Like everything
Yeah.
is already set up.
Berlin's coming sooner than later, finally. I've been here for almost 15 years. And so Charité, it's one of the biggest employers in Berlin, right? Amazing medical institute, great research, not tons, but quite a number of Nobel laureates from there. And that helped shape Berlin's medical field over time. And the Charité now, with the right incentives and the right funding, we start to see more collaborations and spinouts of startups and other institutes like the Berlin Institute of Health, the Berlin Institute of Systems Biology or Medical Systems Biology, BIMSB it's called. You have the Max Delbrück Center for Molecular Medicine. You have, of course, Max Planck, which is all over Germany. So Germany and Berlin, we have great institutes here. The issue, and you see this all the time, what people are talking about, it's like getting this innovation actually into the market, into commercialization. So what happens usually is that these startups, they spin out from university and then they might raise a bit of funding. They might not, but most of the times they will go to the US to go public and to scale because you require a lot of capital.
Yeah.
That's changing though. So we see now with the EU Biotech Act, we see with a few funds that are being put together finally that will have at least a bit more money in Germany to support innovation from the lab all the way into actual products that are going to benefit society here in Europe because that's what we need. Otherwise, we're subsidizing health for other economies, and yeah, we need to ensure that that also benefits what's happening here in Germany. So the Charité, we're all working together to try to get more innovation going. You know, that's what I also try to do. I try to support them, but they're very big. They're quite old. They have their politics. So, but they're starting to figure out because of societal pressure that they need to get things moving. And people are aging. You know, that's going to be the topic now for
That's the sad
many
thing about
years.
the people. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and so we have to keep folks healthy and productive, especially in this day and age with everything changing.
You were actually the first American who graduated from your program of molecular medicine.
Yes, that's right. The master's program.
Yeah, from the Charité. Why such an unusual choice for an American when the money flows from Germany to America, as you said, and you're flowing back?
A lot of people ask me that question. So I was in Boston. I was doing my bachelor's in biology, and at that time, I had moved in, or actually, this guy from same as Toby, he moved in with me from Germany. And the plan before coming here was to go to medical school. But he's like, you should think about coming to Germany and doing a master's before you go to medical school and think about, doing some cool science in Germany. And I always, knew about the science that was happening in Germany for historical reasons. And I always thought, okay, yeah, why not hang out in Germany and do some science and see what happens. So I was coming across a program, the molecular medicine program at the Charité. We were sitting at a cafe. Borders Cafe doesn't exist anymore. We're sitting there, and I come across this program like, wow, this looks really interesting. So let me apply. And I didn't get in the first round because I was too young. It was junior year. You had to apply your senior year. I applied senior year, and then I got in. And then I moved here basically like 2 months after I got accepted. And then Berlin just sucked me in afterwards. So I fell in love with the city. In the beginning, it was tough, but then I did fall in love with it. And it was really just starting to come up back in 2012. I would say Berlin really peaked from 2008 to 2012. I don't know, because I wasn't here in 2008, but when you look at the economics of Germany and of Europe, you can see that, that it was really coming up. So it was right at the peak. And then I got into techno, and then I was like, okay, I need to stay here because I love to dance. So, yeah.
Cool. Do you have your favorite club here?
Well, of course, it's the Berghain. That's where I met my wife in Berghain.
You met your God.
In 2015. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's the Berghain. For me to dance and really shut off, it's more of like a meditation for me. The music's great. People there are fantastic. And then there's About Blank. My friends run the Staub parties there. It's a daytime party. What I like about these clubs is that you don't necessarily need to go out super late to have a good time. You can go during the day and be fresh afterwards. And that's my approach. So I have my couple hours of sport and meditation, and then I'm back at the office.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is such a Berliner lifestyle. It's like the most Berliner thing I ever heard. Like you go to the Berghain and then you go to work, you do the startup thing, and then in the evening you go back to the Berghain and it's
yeah, if it's still open. Yeah.
Amazing.
No, I love that about the city is the accessibility to these great institutes. And you don't see that in any other city. And that's a big reason why I stayed here and what kept me here is the access. And then also because these clubs and these institutes, it's so accessible, it draws in such an interesting, eclectic crowd. And then you're meeting people that you would never meet if you're working in an office, in a corporate, or in a co-working space. I mean, some of them do now work in co-working spaces and vice versa, right? Yeah, I mean, in other cities, I didn't get that. Although, yeah, I was only 18, 19, 20 when I was living in Boston. But yeah, it's fantastic. And music, yeah, we need to optimize for more dancing. I think society as a whole needs to optimize for dancing and having a good time together.
I think it's a very unusual place for the networking, the Berghain or the KitKat Club. It's like I met the investors for our project. Where? Oh, at the Kinky Party.
You would be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that happens quite often, to be honest, because we have a lot of people who love to dance, who love the techno music, and who love the startups, and who are working in startups. So I think for sure that such situations happened before.
Absolutely. Have you met any interesting folks?
No, unfortunately not.
Not yet.
I mean, interesting, yes, for sure, but investors, not yet, unfortunately. But I think one day,
with enough time,
just need to go more often.
yeah. Keep an open mind, and keep a good energy, and you attract certain types of people, which is always good.
Cool.
Berlin is ready to give you whatever you want.
That's right. I mean, yeah, what you give is what you get in Berlin. That's something that I realize, and that's part of my philosophy for the Life Sciences Tech Network, is to really provide a platform, provide a community, an ecosystem that supports innovation, that helps these wonderful scientists and startups, these entrepreneurs who are also scientifically minded, to have a place where they can share their experiences, share knowledge, gain knowledge, get their products into the market, meet investors, meet co-founders if they're looking to start a company, and meet potential clients and meet some dancing partners maybe if they find somebody. You never know.
If we go a little bit abstract and try to think and apply the principles of longevity to the city, to the Berlin, would you love to preserve it the way the city is for another 100,000 years?
Yeah. No, I think about this. Yeah, no, I think about this. So we have to definitely optimize for bringing people together and ensuring that people are connected and they feel good together. So the arts, club culture needs to stay strong and robust and sustainable, right? So it's gotten more and more expensive over the years. A lot of clubs are dying or shutting down because of gentrification and costs, right? And then, folks are not, if they're not making so much money, they're artists or they're struggling and the clubs are getting more expensive, the clubs have to pass on the cost to them. So then they can't go because it's too expensive. And then you just start getting, like your, more commercial kind of people there. And that's not really my thing. And that kind of leads to a vicious cycle. And then who knows? And then the big corporates take over and then it gets boring. So yeah, in ensuring that, I think music and culture and art, it's a public good. And somehow we have to figure out a way as a society to invest in the public goods and the public infrastructure that leads to such a great quality of life in Berlin. So I hope that it continues. We'll see. Not sure, but at the same time, we have to ensure that society develops and that there are commercial incentives and good incentives to continue growing the city. I'm more on the science and technology side of things. I'd like to see more of that happening. Actual technology that benefits humans, not just more e-commerce or more
Yeah, B2B, like
stuff
product
that
SaaS.
we don't need
things,
more
yeah.
crap. We need to be more healthy and work closer together and support each other. So that's my philosophy, and that's what I try to work on as an entrepreneur. Support more of that health and wellness.
Great.
Sounds really cool. I think we can dive deep into the networking more
Hmm?
because the way you met your wife at Berghain, the way you actually lead
I'm
the
always out there doing stuff,
networking
yeah.
communities, like maybe you have some tips how to turn people into friends, into spouse.
Yeah. No, for sure. Berlin is blessed with a lot of events and a lot of communities. There's more and more startups. There's more cultural things happening because people want that, and I think it's continuing. I don't know. I don't really see it on a high level, but I see that there are more and more events. And I think folks who come, students, for example, when I was a student, I was, I'm a pretty social person. I don't mind going out there and meeting people and just putting myself out there and seeing what happens. And in Berlin, at least when I moved here, it felt like a very safe place for me. It still feels good. I'm going out still. And I usually go with my wife somewhere or my friends, but even if I go by myself, I'll find some cool people to meet with, and figuring out who's doing what's out there, what kind of events are happening, and then seeing if you can connect with anybody. That's really key. So events, co-working spaces. I mean, even now the gyms are doing some cool things. Even the co-working spaces are starting to do like these wellness and longevity retreats with like saunas and stuff. And so that's cool. Everyone's trying to build a community. And I think we need that as we become more and more embedded and overwhelmed with technology and being plugged into our augmented reality, which is our phones and computers. And we need the human experience. And so with that comes the demand and the supply of more types of events and in-person gatherings. And then I think that can help people find their way at some point. Berlin's super heterogeneous, and there's a lot of interesting things happening here still. So if you're a student or you're a newcomer to Berlin, go on Meetup, go on, not so much Meetup anymore, more on Luma, I should say. Luma is really the...
We're promoting Luma on every podcast.
Yeah, I'm
Every
basically...
episode.
I mean, I'm not really using Eventbrite or Meetup anymore, but more Luma. It's crazy they took over.
They should pay us for
For the integrations, yeah.
Yeah, Luma, pay these guys.
If you hear
sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check out Luma. Check out my Life Sciences Tech Network on Luma if you want to get into life science. Sorry, I have a little plug, but see what's out there. You can still check Eventbrite and Meetup. They're good too. Check all the channels. Build an agent that's scraping the internet and finding events. I mean, that's what I do for my community to kind of automate all the events that are happening in Germany and across Europe. Is I build out the agents, and then the agents put them into my platform, and then people get notified when an event that is relevant for them happens.
Great. Super cool. We talked a lot about the longevity and the biotech and the lifelong things. It's super cool. So what are you working on? Those are very hard, complex topics. And I guess you're a scientist. So, I mean, I can call you a scientist, I guess. So,
Thank you. I'm trying to be scientific as much as I can.
Cool. So
Create hypothesis and then
what your usual working day looks like here?
Yeah, so I wear many hats as an entrepreneur. Currently building 2 companies. One is called Flot.bio. So Flot.bio, we are building the #1 European podcast for biotech.
Wow.
We'll leave the link to it.
Yes.
Integration.
So if you're looking to get more into biotech, understand like the entrepreneurs and the founder's journey, or understand how executives think in European biotechnology, everything that goes into that, then this podcast is suitable for you. And I think it's a fantastic source of inspiration and knowledge. And so that's the first product that we have is the podcast. And then we also have the map. So it's the European Biotech Map. So it's a wonderful tool. It's optimized for user experience, and you can easily find the best biotechs in Europe. So if you go to map.flot.bio, then you'll find it. So maybe you can find the links in the description. So that's our digital media for European biotech that we're building with one of my co-founders, who's also based in Berlin. He's half German, half French, and we've been working together now for a couple of years on this. And in addition, in parallel, I started the Life Sciences Tech Network. So we're building a global community, started in Berlin, focused on supporting the convergence of life sciences and technology, but on a human level. Because a lot of what's going to be happening, especially in like longevity, we're talking about that, life sciences and health, there's gonna be a lot of automation. There's gonna be a lot of machines and automation in order to bring costs down. It's about bringing the right people together to support the advancement of life sciences with tech, this convergence, and to be able to empower folks who are entrepreneurs who are also trying to launch companies or build products and get them into the market. Europe needs more commercialization structures to allow startups to be successful in Europe, as we were discussing before. Instead of going to the US or going to China, they keep the innovation here. It's a community that connects these startups and scale ups and supports their growth. And so we have a chapter in Berlin, and we're now growing to other cities across Germany to support the German um, ecosystem. And then we're also going to other cities in Europe to support the Europeans. And then we're going to bring it to the US and bring the US ecosystem into it, because every, let's say, hub, be it Berlin, Basel, or Boston, they all have their strengths and they all have their weaknesses, and there's opportunities to collaborate. And life sciences and biotech health is collaboration. We need more collaboration to support the advancements of these technologies that will go into advancements in life sciences. So this is what we're trying to do with the Life Sciences Tech Network. It's really build like a robust community for this.
Looking at your LinkedIn, it's also mentioned that you are an advisor and operations manager in a few more companies.
Yeah,
What are your
sure.
time management secrets or the keys to longevity? Is it like having the maximum intense schedule or?
Yeah, it's pretty intense at the moment. So outside of the startups that I'm building, I'm also supporting the Methuselah Foundation in the US. I've been with them for quite some years. We spun out the Biomarkers of Aging Consortium, so that also goes into longevity. And now we're working on the Deep Space Food Consortium, which basically is a consortia of private, public entities that look to bring good food for deep space. So basically, sustainable food systems that will allow humans to thrive in outer space. So that's I'm running mostly I'm supporting mostly the comms and the community development for that at the moment, and supporting that. But in terms of productivity, since I have to context switch and wear many hats, I do block time for each activity, and so I'll dedicate a certain amount of time towards one project or one team or one thing. And learning how to use project management systems, how to use communication channels like Slack, and Notion, for example, for project management, usually using just one system, and that you can then bring to other teams. And so you're all kind of aligned on one system. That helps, because then if you have to kind of go through all these different, tools and systems, it gets pretty, on top of everything else, brain will explode. I think most likely most people's brains will explode. So it's a lot of time management and being disciplined and saying no to to other commitments. So right now it's all about developing these startups and also supporting the foundation and ensuring that we can do what we want to do, which is to extend the human health span and make 90 the new 50. So this is this is also core to the mission that supports Life Sciences Tech Network as well, is to bring about more healthy years in folks, and it should be everyone's mission, I think.
Sounds really cool. So you're applying this project management tools to plan your own life. I was about to ask, like, you've been living for 15 years in Berlin and you were working with chronobiology, which is basically like exploring how the human's body work as a clock.
Right, yeah.
And doing so much things. Like, did Berlin made your inner circadian rhythm broke or not? But I think you're a good planner, so probably you know how to fix that.
Yes, well, yeah, that's right. So during my master's, I did a rotation in the Achim Kramer chronobiology lab through the Charité, and I published a paper on an enzyme that affects the circadian rhythm of cells. And so your circadian rhythm, exactly, that's like your clock, your timing of your body, your biorhythm, so to speak. And yeah, that's also very influential in your longevity. And even drummers and percussionists, they have certain specific profile of circadian rhythm versus other folks who are not drummers, for example. I mean, there's some study that showed that. Yeah, so it's definitely an interesting concept and definitely interesting biology, and we're understanding more of that as we learn more. And for sure, yeah, if you skip a night of sleep, if you're in the clubs, then yeah, you're going to throw off your circadian rhythm. And if you do if you do an aging test, your aging will definitely be much higher than than baseline in this case. So yeah, you should find ways to not do that. But
So kids, sleep at night. That's
Yes.
good advice.
And go to Berghain in the morning.
Yeah.
We just found out there is an option.
yeah, eat well, sleep well, and only go to daytime clubs. That's the best approach to enjoying Berlin. And yeah, eat. I mean, when I was a student, I ate a lot of Magerstufe quark, which is very cheap still. I mean, now it's more skier because the taste profile is a bit better, but yeah, and the gym. And yeah, take your vitamins and eat your vegetables. And have a
Do your
steak once in a
squats,
while.
drink your water. Coming back to Berlin,
Mhm.
if you had 5 minutes in front of the mayor, what would you ask him for to improve the startup and science startup ecosystem in the city?
Mhm. Good question. I would just hope that Berlin wants to become a startup city, and it's becoming one. There's a lot of great talent that comes here. Um, there's a lot of innovation that can happen here. It's the perfect city to support startups and to grow a startup and to have a family and to make this place even better than it is today. So we need to find ways to allow for entrepreneurs to really breathe and to prosper. I don't know if it's just the mayor and or policymakers and regulatory. I mean, more on the EU federal level. But I think, yeah, if I guess if the mayor would to go out and see who's, I know he's going out for like, yeah, he's going to like the Berlin auf die Eins, which is being now developed by the Delta, which is a campus. They're doing a lot of hackathons and stuff, and so he's out there. He's going out. So I don't have any positives or negatives to say about the mayor. I don't really know too much about what he's doing. Maybe I should. But at least from what I've seen and what I've seen the Senate senator, but she's going out there to conferences and also speaking. So I think it's they're doing as well as they could. I would talk more to the EU Commission, and they're also doing stuff that's good, but really allow entrepreneurs to operate freely and make yeah, the incentives a bit better for entrepreneurs here. Otherwise, they're going to go to the US or they're going to go to China, and then yeah, you'll just be a walking Disneyland, and we don't want that in Europe. Europe is, I mean, I live in Europe because I love the lifestyle and I love the people here. I also love the US. I haven't been to China yet. But yeah, I mean, every place has its positives, its negatives. But from a lifestyle point of view, I love to have a cappuccino outside of a nice cafe, read a little book, and then go back and work on my startup. Like that's, and then in Berlin.
In Berlin.
In Berlin, yeah. So yeah, so yeah, let's just allow entrepreneurs to breathe a bit and provide them with great tools. And I think it's coming. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Do you have anything to ask?
No, I think I heard more than enough. Now I know that I
More
should
than
eat my
enough.
vegetables, that I can go to the Berghain in the morning, not in the evening.
Life
and
can be
that is
so simple.
Yeah,
Yes.
it can. And that you can meet your wife in the Berghain
Yeah.
and the business partners, obviously. So that is super cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's a magical place. Berlin is a very magical place. I've been here for 15 years. I plan to at least have my European base here. I don't see myself leaving unless some things happen. So I hope everything stays well and safe in the city. There's beautiful people here. It's a beautiful city. So whoever's thinking about coming here, um, try to find an apartment first and a good job. Yeah, it's got its challenges, but we're gonna get there. I believe it. I think society wants to do better, and we're gonna hopefully get there. So I'm hopeful. I'm pretty hopeful.
Thank you so much for today's episode. We will leave all the links in the description.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, looking forward for the new episodes.
Looking forward.
Bye bye.